beauty, welcome back to my channel. Today we're here to continue our read aloud read along of Maya Angelou's second memoir, that is Gathered Together in My Name. We've been reading together in previous chapters, have been linked in the playlist. They're in the description box down below. So if you're new to the series, if you're new to the channel and you'd like to start with the first chapter in this book, or if you'd like to start with her first memoir, both playlists are going to be linked down there, so you can click in the playlist and start wherever you'd like to. We're up to chapter 8, which in this edition of the book begins on page 32. If you have a copy of the book, you could read along with me. If you don't, just listen to me read. Chapter 8 goes like this. The Los Angeles Union Railway Terminal was a marvel of Moorish Spanish glamour. The main waiting room was vast, and the ceiling domed its way up to the clouds. Long curved benches sat in dark wooden splendor, and outside its arched doors, palm trees waved in lovely walks. Inlaid blue and yellow tiles were to be found in every wall, arranged in gay and exotic design. It was easy to distinguish San Franciscans detraining amid the crowd. San Franciscan women always, but always wore gloves. Short, white, snappy ones in the day, and long black or white kid leather ones at night. The Southern Californians and other tourists were much more casual. Men sported flowered shirts, and women ambled around or lounged on the imposing seats in cotton dresses, which could have passed for brunch coats in San Francisco. Being from the city, I had dressed for the trip. A black crepe number which pulled and pleated, tucked and shared in a wrap all its own. It was expensive by my standards and dressy enough for a wedding reception. My short white gloves had lost their early morning crispness during the 10-hour coach trip, and Guy, whose immensity matched his energy, had mashed and creased and bungled the dress into a very new symmetry. Less than a year old, he had opinions. He definitely wanted to get down and go to that smiling stranger across the aisle, and immediately wanted to be in my lap, pulling on the rhinestone brooch which captured and brought light to the collar of my dress. In spite of the wrinkled dress and in spite of the cosmetic case full to reeking with dirty diapers, I left the train with my son a picture of controlled dignity. I had over $200 rolled in scratchy $10 bills in my brassiere, another $70 in my purse, and 2 bags of seriously selected clothes. Los Angeles was going to know I was there. My aunt answered my telephone call. "Righty, where are you?" "We're at the station." "What we?" Like all the family, she had heard about my pregnancy, but she hadn't seen the result. "My son and I." A tiny hesitation. Then, "Get a taxi and come out here. I'll pay the cab fare." Her voice didn't ooze happiness at hearing from me, but then, the Baxters were not known to show any emotions, except violent ones. Wilshire Boulevard was wide and glossy. Large buildings sat back on tiny little lawns in a privacy that projected money and quiet voices and white folks. The house on Federal Avenue had a no-nonsense air about it. It was a model of middle-class decorum. A single-story, solidly made building with 3 bedrooms, good meant-to-last furniture, and samplers on the wall which exhorted someone to bless this home and warned that pride goeth before a fall. The clan had met, obviously called by my aunt, to check out my new addition to the family and give me the benefit of their conglomerate wisdom. My Uncle Tommy sat, wide-spraddled as usual, and grumbled, "Hey, righty, got a baby, I see." Guy was in my arms and talking, pointing, laughing, so the meaning in his statement was not in the words. He was simply greeting me and saying that although I had a child without benefit of marriage, he for one was not going to ignore either me or the baby. My family spoke its own mysterious language. The wives and husbands of my blood relatives handed my son around as if they were thinking of adding him to their collection. They removed his booties and pulled his toes. "Got good feet. High arches." One aunt ran her hand round his head and was satisfied. "His head is round." "Got a round head, huh?" "Sure does." "That's good." This feature was more than a symbol of beauty. It was an indication of the strength of the bloodline. Every Baxter had a round head. "Look a lot like Bibi, don't he?" Bibi was the family name for my mother. Guy was handed around the circle again. "Sure does." "Yes, I see Bibi right here. Well, but he's mighty fair, isn't he?" Sure is. They all spoke without emotion, except for my Aunt Leah. Her baby voice rose and fell like music played on a slender reed. Reedy, you're a woman now, a mother and all that. You'll have two to think of from now on. You'll have to get a job. I've been working as a cook. She shouldn't think I had come to be taken care of. And learn to save your money. Tommy's wife, Sarah, wrapped my son carefully in his blanket and handed him over to me. Aunt Leah stood, a signal that the inspection was over. What time is your train? Charlie can drive you to the station. My brain reeled. Had I given the impression that I was going on? Did they say something I missed? In a few hours, I should be getting back. We were all shaking hands. Their relief was palpable. I was, after all, a Baxter and playing the game, being independent, expecting nothing, and if asked, not giving a cripple crab a crutch. Tom asked, need some money, Reet? No thanks, I've got money. All I needed was to get away from that airless house. My uncles and aunts were childless, except for my late Aunt Tootie, and they were not equipped to understand that an 18-year-old mother is also an 18-year-old girl. They were a close-knit group of fighters who had no patience with weakness and only contempt for losers. I was hurt because they didn't take me and my child to their bosom, and because I was a product of Hollywood upbringing and my own romanticism. On the silver screen, they would have vied for me. The winner would have set me up in a cute little cottage with frangipani and roses growing in the front yard. I would always wear pretty aprons, and my son would play in the little league. My husband would come home, he looked like Curly, and smoke his pipe in the den as I made cookies for the Boy Scouts meeting. I was hurt because none of this would come true. But only in part. I was also proud of them. I congratulated myself on having absolutely the meanest, coldest, craziest family in the world. Uncle Charlie, Aunt Leah's husband, never talked much. And on the way back to that station, he broke the silence only a few times. You sure got yourself a cute baby. Thank you. Going on to San Diego, huh? I guess so. Well, your father's down there. You won't be by yourself. My father, who spent his time drinking tequila in Mexico and putting on high-toned airs in San Diego, would give me a colder reception than the one I'd just received. I would be by myself. I thought how nice it would be. I decided that one day I would be included in the family legend. Someday, as they sat around in the closed circle, recounting the fights and feuds, the prides and prejudices of the Baxters, my name would be among the most illustrious. I would become a hermit. I would seal myself off from the world, just my son and I. I had written a juicy melodrama in which I was to be the star, pathetic, poignant, isolated. I planned to drift out of the wings, a little girl martyr. It just so happened that life took my script away and upstaged me. That's the end of chapter 8. We'll be back next time for chapter 9. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Subscribe if you want to see more. Let's talk in the comments. Let me know how you're enjoying this. Is this a new, fresh look at who Maya Angelou is? The fact that we're reading this story about her early life, her beginnings, being a teenage mom, and not feeling the love and acceptance from her family maybe the way she would want to, and then knowing how her story ends, a successful writer. I think it's beautiful to be able to read this. I'd love to talk with you in the comments about it. So let's talk down there. Hope you'll come back for more. And until next time, happy reading. Bye.